Commissioners' work session for Wednesday, March 4th, 2020. Review of work session discussion meeting minutes. I don't have any. No changes. Solicitor's report. Or I'm sorry, department head report. Any department heads like to report anything?
I do. Sandy Yegley, I'm the treasurer. I heard the conversation about the commissioners thinking about having the dog license be taken care of by the Humane Society. So I did a little bit of research myself and wanted to look into this situation. And so I contacted the solicitor for the state, Jeff Schenk, and he pointed me to the county code that is written by this solicitor. And the first line in the county code, it says the treasurer shall be the agent. So I am the agent of the state that issues the dog license, and I can have sub-agents, which the Humane Society is one of the sub-agents. And maybe down the road, if I would probably have other sub-agents so that it opens up so that the convenience for the taxpayers that they can get their dog license at other locations. Because I think that the convenience of having the accessibility to have dog licenses is one of the hurdles that we're struggling with in Beaver County. And that brought me to bringing in the state dog warden, and we recently got a new hire for the state. Chris is designated as being the dog warden in Beaver County. He is going to be a full-time person in Beaver County, and he will be in charge of...
My name is Thomas Wary. I'm the regional supervisor for the Bureau of Dog Law. Chris was hired. His first day was Monday the 2nd. He'll be in training over the next several months, and then he will be assigned to Beaver County to where he will enforce Title III, the state dog laws inside of Beaver County. He'll be on patrol Monday through Friday between the hours 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. for strays, licensing, rabies cases, damage claims on farms, kennel inspections, and he'll work close with the Humane Society if they need any assistance with their calls. He'll have a state cell phone that'll be publicized to the public, plus his state email address, and he has a state take-home vehicle that he'll be responding to calls throughout the day. So if the public would need him, they could either email him, call him on the phone, or if they get a hold of me, I will get a hold of him and put him in touch with the general public for any type of state dog law violation or kennel violation inside of Beaver County.
And that brings me to my next point, is that I sent over the new contract with a couple corrections that were seen in the contract that needed to be made for the online dog licensing. And I would like to go through that process and have the online dog licensing. One of the main reasons that I want to stress the importance of having online dog licensing, not only just for the convenience for the taxpayers, but for safety concerns, is that right now the police departments, if a dog is lost or bit somebody, they keep that dog over the weekend or take it to the Humane Society. When if they had an online dog license, they could look that up and get that dog to the owner very quickly. And in the case where we have dog wardens, if somebody is bit, there's this lag of time where they don't know where that dog belongs. And in the case of the safety, they would have to take that person to the emergency room and start the process of rabies, of the shots. So this would save a lot of time and safety for our public to have this online dog licensing, so that people would know that where that dog belongs and to get it to the home very quickly. And for $250 a month, I think that is a very good way to spend our taxpayer money. I also wanted to let you know about the community outreach programs that I'm doing. Last Saturday, I was at Reed Services, and that is they had a vaccination clinic out in Elwood City. I spent from 10 until 2 at their vaccination clinic, and we licensed 50 dogs at that clinic. And on the 14th of March, Saturday, March 14th, From 11 to 2, I will be at Rural King. And then on the 28th of March, I will be at the Beaver Agway. So we're trying to get out there into the public and letting them know that we're going to do these community outreach and that they can get these licenses on a Saturday. And I did want to mention another aspect of the safety. I talked to the district attorney and let him know that this, if we go forward, if the commissioners allow this to happen, to sign the contract, that it would be an asset for the district attorney in the event that his drug task force or his ESU go out. He will have the ability to look up that household and know how many dogs are in that house before they breach the door. So that's another aspect of how it could really help Beaver County in the safety and welfare of our citizens.
I'll endorse that. It's be a great asset to law enforcement generally. Whether you're a fireman going into a house, police going into a house, or a search warrant in a house, knowing how many dogs are in there and if they've been vaccinated is very important for the team. That's one of the highest risk issues right now with law enforcement.
So when a individual comes in and applies for a dog license right now, what happens to that file? We turn it into the state?
Yeah,
Does the state not put it into a database?
We have a homemade program that was made by somebody down in our IT department, and it is a very basic program that we can print off a report, so when we're audited by the state, we give them that report.
So the license don't physically go to the state?
No.
The state doesn't have a statewide database?
I don't believe that they do.
No. Okay.
No.
Nope.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other department head report? Hearing none, we'll move to solicitor's report.
Last week, myself and the assessment office met with representatives of Tylo Technologies and got a brief update from them on where they're at in the reassessment process. They are still looking for data collectors. These positions would pay between $16.25 and $18.13 an hour plus benefits and reimbursement for gas mileages. So if anyone out there who is interested or knows of anyone who's interested, they are still looking to hire those positions. The plan is for those data collectors to start out in the field next month. They had asked if the county would be willing to provide a ID badge. That way these individuals could be notified, or that way these individuals would be noticed to anyone in the public who were to ask them. And we had IT put together a sort of an overview of what a badge might look like. This would have the county's signature on the top, or the county's emblem on the top, would have the individual's picture, their first and last name, and then
Tyler Technologies.
yeah, it would also have Tyler Technologies emblem, and then it would say Beaver County Tyler Technologies reassessment contractor, and then a phone number if this ID ended up being lost or for someone to call. We felt that that was important for these individuals to carry that to ensure that people know who in fact that they are. All right, so if the commissioners are all right, what we've shown here is what we would like to have these data collectors carry on them, and the IT department would prepare these for these individuals who ultimately are hired.
Yeah, I think we already signed off on it.
Yeah.
If
I
you-
thought it was a
good idea.
If you
That
got
would-
it yet.
Kevin brought it up as well, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will move forward with having this, and just for the public's sake, individuals will have an ID on them who are out doing the data collecting. We also spoke with Tylo Technologies as far as what the plan is once we have an idea of where these individuals are going to start at geographic-wise. We're going to notify the local communities and the local police departments so that way they're aware of the general area that these individuals will be at whenever they're out doing the data collecting. And then finally, starting probably next week, is vehicles are going to be put out in the field almost like a Google Earth type of thing. That will be driving around, called cyclomedia. These vehicles will take pictures of various areas throughout the county. The intention is that these vehicles will do a lot of the pictures sort of in the urban downtown areas. So people may see these cyclomedia cars driving around
Public roads.
on public roads only. They will not be on private driveways,
Right.
private alleys, only on public roads. and they'll just be taking pictures as they drive past. The anticipation is that that process is going to last about 6 to 7 weeks of them out in various parts of the county taking these pictures. So people can be on the lookout for those vehicles. And other than that, everything's still.
Are we considering putting something on?
They asked if, I don't know if we want to put a Beaver County emblem on those vehicles. You can see that they're clearly marked
Yeah.
cyclomedia, and they stick out. They have orange striping on them. If you want to put a Beaver County emblem on it, we could, but
Yeah, I thought it was up to the discretion of
Yeah.
what Kevin thought was best.
yeah, I mean, they're going to be on the public road. They're like any other
So,
vehicle that's driving on the
yeah.
public road. They're not going to be on private property, where these individuals will
Google
have,
Earth
will
folks,
be having
that's not
interacting,
private.
will potentially be having interactions with people. This vehicle will not.
It's not our car, so I don't understand.
It's not our car, it's not our employees, it's the only associated with the county are part of the reassessment, but they're being hired by Tylo Technologies to do that. And with that being said, nothing else to report here. Do need executive session to discuss personnel matters.
Any questions for the law department? Hearing none. Board of Commissioners?
I got a few things.
Okay.
You gonna talk about the corona?
Sure, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up here. Just a couple quick things to go through. I wanna thank BCRC, Life for Beaver County, and also the Mental Health Association. Several of us have toured those facilities to discuss the important services they provide. And I gotta tell you, we've got some really dedicated nonprofit social service organizations that are just doing some fantastic, important work, particularly for the elderly, disabled, intellectually disabled folks. And mental health. Mental health still is a significant issue in this country. 1 out of every 4 people are associated with some kind of mental health issue. And suicide's still the 10th leading cause of death. And you know, you hear those stories, and it's pretty disturbing. So I want to publicly thank those organizations specifically. Also, I want to thank Senator Vogel, Representatives Josh Kale and Jim Marshall. I attended that bridge dedication for Sergeant Dylan Elchin for the Vanport Bridge, and it was a very poignant, very compelling ceremony, and a great story, I think, of a guy who sacrificed a lot for Beaver County in this country. Also West Hill and the VFW Post 128 for hosting that, and particularly Dylan's grandfather, Ron Begolia, who has worked tirelessly on behalf of recognizing his grandson. But it was a tremendous event. And then last thing, I thank you to my colleagues here for attending, as well as a lot of people in the press, the Penn State Beaver event with the Quality Education Council K-12. I know several people, several of our row officers and folks attended that, but it was a great turnout, close to, I think, 160 people. It was a great initial conversation on what education can look like in 2030 in Beaver County. It's an important subject, I think, and I appreciate everything there. And the last thing I just want to mention, as if the coronavirus wasn't enough, Beaver County is one of 12 counties just being quarantined with the lanternfly, which is invading. Jeff's already shaking his head. It's an important issue. They're traveling in on trains. The Conway rail yards. If anybody has any questions about lanternflies and that kind of stuff, I encourage them to contact the Penn State Extension. I know my wife was hiking the Appalachian Trail last fall and saw them all up and down eastern Pennsylvania, different spots there, and it's quite a destructive, quite an invasive species that Penn State Beaver Extension's putting out there. So just wanted to give a public
They discussed
heads up on that.
I call it the hobo insect.
Yeah, right. It's traveling on trains.
It's traveling on trains.
Yeah. So, but that's some of the stuff that I've been engaged with last week or so.
Yeah, we got our paper for Scouting for Food program, so that'll start. And throughout, I think it's the entire month of April, we do this.
Collection boxes.
Collection boxes will be out for our people that work here. I just have a question. I know that first day of trout's coming, and they're gonna probably stock Brush Creek and Brady's Run. We're gonna have provisions so that at least on the first day and maybe the following Saturday to.
It's up to you folks. I mean, it's,
Will they be able to partition off the pond?
I think we can block, we can block it off so that they can't get any further than the pond.
Okay. Is there any liability with that? I mean, they're gonna stock it on the 24th, I think.
The 26th. I spoke
26th?
with Tammy Frank yesterday. She spoke with Bruce at the Fish and Game Commission. They're going to stock Brush Creek March 26th. Opening day, I believe, is April 11th, and there's a Pennsylvania Free Fisherman Day the next weekend, the 18th. So,
Tammy talked to you yet? They won't be able to get it if we don't open the gate, so
Right.
somebody's gonna have to.
I haven't talked to Tammy.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll give her a call then and try to hook something up to see if we can, because we have to have it. People have to know if they're gonna be able to fish there.
Are there any open trenches between the front gate and the lake out there? Do we know? We might want to look into that and see.
Yeah, I think there are, and if, I have means that I can, if need be, we wanna get steel plates. I can borrow steel plates.
You said
from
the
an
26th of this month, Tony?
Yes.
So we might want to go out there prior just to sort of scout it out and see.
Maybe the company can, make things safe while people are there. I don't know, I haven't been out there since they started.
I had another call in, I know I spoke last week, was hoping to hear from the contractor as to a potential start date, some type of, I know nothing can be in concrete with the weather and everything like that, but I'd like to get a plan as to when. So, and I hadn't heard anything, so I called him on my way down here to the courthouse, and I told him that I'm gonna be walking into a meeting, I'm sure I'd be asked. So I'm hoping once again to hear something here real soon, as to a potential start date.
Okay. Thank you. The last thing, I just got at 9:22 today from Jim Hassiter from SPC. We're gonna be at our conference, and they tentatively set up meetings in the morning, a breakfast meeting at CCAP, after CCAP. And there's a
Tuesday?
pot-
Is that Tuesday?
Tuesday. And there's a potential to meet with the governor's office, budget office, and the Secretary of Transportation for our transportation monies. We may have to stay an extra day, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
What time, yeah.
You don't wanna work, from 7:30 in the morning to 6 o'clock at night, then drive 4.5 hours home. So, as soon as we get a quick update, and I'm sure the rooms are gonna go quick, so it's something we have to look at, maybe staying another day. And of course, if we do that, then there's work session has to be canceled.
When, I read through this, will they know about the meetings soon?
Well, that's what it says. I mean, like I said, if you look at it says 9:22, we just got it. So
Okay.
they're in the process. We discussed it at our workshop. We discussed the potential to go to lobby for money for our counties and for our region. And I always said a long time ago, there's two banks in our country. One's in Washington DC and the other one's in Harrisburg. So this is gonna be the first step. We're also gonna go to Washington. But because of the fact, and to save a lot of money for the governments, we're gonna be in Harrisburg, so,
Yeah.
just extend it a day rather than coming back and then them setting up something a week, 2 weeks later. So I just wanted to put that in here. We'll have to miss closing exercises in the morning, but this is more important.
All right.
Okay?
The only other thing I had was the Board of Commissioners, the Law Department, HR, IT, did a conference call this morning with CCAP, and the PA Department of Health was on, and a few other people about the coronavirus and steps that we need to start taking and the policies we need to start reviewing for action that might need to be taken if there's an outbreak in western PA, Beaver County, Pennsylvania region. I think one of the key things that we took away was that there was no confirmed cases in Pennsylvania. And I think really all they're saying now is make sure you wash your hands and
Typical flu season
flu season,
hygiene
yeah.
practices and etiquette.
But we are, you know, we make sure our courts have their plan in place. The jail has a emergency preparedness plan. 911 has a plan in place as well, an action plan, because those are 24-hour operations that need to stay open. So we are doing everything we need to right now to cover the worst case scenario, and we're still looking into more.
Yeah, and the other thing is that if you are sick and not feeling well, please do not show up to work. That was something they really emphasized, people coming to work sick with the flu or anything else, to stay home and contact their physician there rather than coming to work or going to emergency rooms and the like.
And we're gonna have a follow-up meeting with the president judge to
Yeah.
come up with a plan.
That's all I have. Does the board have anything else? Any other business? Audience participation.
The soccer. What are we gonna do about soccer?
Soccer at Brush Creek.
To be honest, I'm one of those, I don't listen, I run down there, don't be putting that word in for
It's on record and
Yeah,
everything,
so.
so.
Take it off the scratch record for a minute, I do run down there. Honestly, the road was worse before you patched it, and it's really fine, it really is, I mean, it's actually nicer,
Than what it was before.
yeah,
When does the soccer season start?
soon. Like,
Probably April.
the end of this month maybe?
End of this
beginning
month,
April?
yeah.
That's right.
No, it's in March.
Yeah.
I know it's soon, and because I know they made arrangements to practice otherwhere.
I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go out there and look at it and see what exactly is going on, where the potential issues are at.
Honestly, if you block it off, like, when you go around the bend, there's the pond parking lot, just block it off there, and then no one can go up the hill, if that's the concern. It's really, I think they may replace, 2 pipes in the beginning of the park, like, right at the entrance and right around the bend where you go into the pond, they're fine.
We'll go look at it and we'll get a response back to you. Sure.
Anything else you want to update us
I
on?
have my playground stuff that I come in way under budget with, and the problem with that is, I talked to him, we need to get a start date because what they have in stock in the States is going quickly because they're not letting ships in. So he needed to know, like, now, like, at least give me 50% of the money that I got to order it, then it's ours, and then set up a date to install.
Do we know, you're still waiting to hear back from Youngbloods about, if it's another crew coming in to do work, it's not pedestrians going up and down the road, or we think we could install this playground while they're working on the road?
I guess it probably depends where they start, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, and I believe they're gonna start at the back loop.
okay.
This should be, I mean, I can't see, once they start, them being there more than a week.
Okay.
It should be a quick, I mean, it's not like they're dealing, with residents, with their cars being on the road, they gotta move this, or, utilities, and they're gonna come in, they're gonna put this stuff down, and,
All right, Jody, I'm sure Maria's probably asking the same question I'm about to. We're gonna need an invoice.
Right, he's
Okay.
printing me up a new one because I did do a handicap swing. It's a double swing, so they'll have 2 handicap swings on one,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
Nice.
I asked her how much we had to put down,
He said
50%.
50%.
And we already have those checks, so you can just put a down payment on the equipment, right?
Yeah, that's what,
As soon as she gets an invoice.
As soon as we get the
Yeah,
invoice.
because you guys will have to sign off on it, I can't sign off on it.
Yeah.
So he's printing me up a new one.
That's what I was
So
asking, we just
somebody
need the
from
invoice to be able to
county
get that 50%
Because you're tax exempt.
cut from
I'm
you
not.
guys, so.
So we'll get together.
Any other questions, any other audience participation? Hearing none? All right. Any reconvene after executive session? Move into executive session, not reconvene. Thank you.